Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
Good morning.
Good morning, Keisha. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm multitasking, but I'm here.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Thank y'all for joining us today. I'm gonna try to get some of these bots out of the chat. Good morning, Joseph. Um, I didn't know, Joseph, if you saw my email before people hop on. I um emailed you about if you could just talk a little bit about Maddox and what Maddox is. We have quite a few people who are new to the village and new to the nonprofit sector. And so I just wanted to be able to kind of paint the picture for them about what Maddox is before we go into the application. Is that okay?
Yes, and I have a few slides too, if that's all right. If I have,
Yeah, absolutely. I will make you co-host, just so that you can share whatever you need to share without me needing to gatekeep that. And we like to give people a few minutes to hop on, around 11:05-ish. We'll get started and I'll give you the floor. But thank you for joining us today.
yeah, sounds good. I am not worried about it. We can take as much. I can take as much time or as little time as you need.
Okay, I was about to say we don't have anything else prepared today. Towards the end of the call, we'll do some announcements, but take as much time as you need. Um, I would try to man the chat and man some of these AI bots from here. And we'll get started in a bit. But thank you all for joining us today. I hope your week is going by smoothly. Happy Women's History Month. Shout out to all the women on the call. It's so good to see your faces. Thanks to Village Month, I've had an opportunity to see a few of you guys in person this month, and we'll look forward to seeing you as the month progresses and as we continue to have events. But good to be in community with you all virtually today. We'll get started in a few minutes, but if you have been able to engage with us for Village Month, we definitely appreciate it. And if you have not, don't worry, we have so many events left for the remainder of the month, and I will drop those in the chat and kind of make some formal announcements about those at the end of today's call and drop the flyers and all the things. But yeah, like I said, if you have had a chance to engage with us, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Last Wednesday, we were in person for our community safety task force breakfast, and that was super informative. And I also dropped some information about that in the chat, and we'll redrop it. But if you wanted to be in attendance to that and couldn't, but you still have an opinion that you'd like to amplify, I will drop the link in the chat, and it should take you to a form to where you can still provide some feedback on that, and feel free to share that with anybody in the village if that has kind of been circulating in your world. If this is your first time on the call or your first time in a long time, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We'll get started in a few minutes, let a few more people join the call. But feel free to drop anything in the chat. Feel free to come off mute if you'd like to say hello. No pressure. And we'll get started in a few minutes. Joseph, as we tee things up, let me know if you want to test your screen just to make sure or just make sure that you have co-hosting privileges and make sure that everything is seamless on your end. Just let me know. And then we can get started. So just to kind of tee us up, if you aren't familiar with the Maddox Fund, that's who we have on the call today. Joseph is amazing. I had the opportunity to meet Joseph not that long ago, and just learn a little bit more about the Maddox Fund, and they're doing really amazing work in the community. And so they'll be sharing a little bit on the call about an opportunity that they have coming up and just kind of a bit about the Maddox Fund and what they do. And so if you're not familiar with the Maddox Fund, today will be a treat. And if you are familiar with the Maddox Fund, then it'll be a treat to see a familiar face. So, Joseph, thank you for joining us today. And you have the floor.
Cool. And I'll be very brief, but feel free to interrupt me and hop off mute if you have any questions, or I can answer questions at the end. Either way. Um, but we're the Dan and Margaret Max Fund. You all can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. This is Dan and Margaret. They passed away in a boating accident close to 30 years ago and left their entire estate to charity. So we operate that endowment. Despite our name, we're not like a traditional family foundation. We're run by a community board. We don't have any living Maddox trustees or anything like the Frist Foundation or like the Turners and Ingrams. So we have a board that rotates, and so our mission and our work is constantly in negotiation with the context of the community. So we're really, it's a really exciting place to be because like there's a lot of changes of our work. And so this year we have an RFP open, a request for proposals, that we're fielding applications, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But our vision is that, we seek a world in which people and planet flourish together in regenerative systems free from oppression and threat. And we have two that kind of grows out of the evolution of the causes and issues Dan and Margaret supported during their lifetime. So during their life, they were really focused on supporting young people and then protecting the natural environment. So this is just the way we look at our mission today. We have two staff members. Jen Bailey, our executive director, she'll be handling all youth grants, and then I'll be handling all environmental grants and all technical assistance. We fund the 41 county Middle Tennessee region. We do fund organizations that work across the state and regionally and nationally, but we require them to be able to show that they have local leadership and talent in place, and then also that they can separate their budget out, because we can only fund the 41 county region. So we just ask that there's a few more financial kind of things that they provide. We have two program areas, right? Environment and youth. To really quickly talk about the environment, we're looking at organizations that create access to blue and green spaces for marginalized communities, organizations that are working on climate change and protecting the natural environment. This can look like habitat restoration, community gardens, water cleanups, recycling programs. And then we look at environmental advocacy work. The other piece to our work is youth, which might apply a lot more to the villages kind of membership. But we are looking for organizations that lift up youth voice. So either training young people to advocate or advocating on behalf of young people. This can look like grassroots organizing. It can look like legislative change. It can look a few different ways, even like communication campaigns and stuff like that too. But it's just helpful that we really value organizations when they center youth in their leadership process and making sure that young people are involved in every stage. The next part of our youth work is equitable education opportunities. If you've been funded by Maddox, this is what a lot of our work has looked like in the past. This can look like after school programs. This can go ahead and look like post-secondary access, either to traditional four-year institutions or career pathways, general tutoring programs as well. So a lot of like educational outcomes that are focused will fall under this category. Our last youth interest area is belonging. And so we are seeking organizations that create spaces where marginalized youth belong. And so for us, our particular emphasis for this year is on immigrant and refugee youth and LGBTQ plus youth. But this can look like a few other populations as well. So just reach out if you have any questions about that. Our deadline's March 20th, so it is coming up. I just want you all to be aware. If you are awarded a grant, you'll know by May 10th. If you're not awarded a grant, we'll try and let you know as soon as possible. We don't want to keep you all hanging. We also will make the payments in 2 installments. So this year for our RFP, we're looking at 2-year grants, with the first payment in 2026 on July 1st, some kind of mid-year kind of check-in stuff, and then a second payment in 2027. This means when like you're filling out the application, you want to be sure that you're requesting an amount over 2 years. So if you're looking for like a $10,000 grant this year and $10,000 grant next year, your full total request will be for 20,000. And then we'll have another RFP in 2028. So just for the Maddox kind of cadence, we'll be looking at a request for proposals every other year, just to keep that cadence going. So 2028 would be the time to look out for that. We also do make some out of cycle grants, and I wanted to share these with you all just so you knew. For this year we have emerging needs grants, and this is for particularly LGBTQ plus youth, immigrant and refugee youth, the environment, and youth civic engagement. We have a few get outside grants. This is for youth serving organizations to bring people outdoors. It's very difficult to find organizations that have the capacity or like that are solely focused on getting young people outside. So we just wanted to offer some funding for enrichment programs. So if you're already serving youth, and you can host a field trip to get young people outside or do like a weekend camping trip, that would be this kind of bucket. And our last part is that we help partners develop their organizations or care for their staff, and like this can bring on like consulting to kind of help advance the work, or thinking about even staff respite. Sometimes we've paid for some sabbaticals or partially funded some sabbaticals through the capacity and care grant funds in the past. So that's just how we kind of look at them. For all these responsive grants, just reach out to me, send me an email. My email his address is right here. But if you want to get started on 2026 RFP, just go to maddoxfund.org/grants, and then you can start and you can review some of the eligibility materials, priority materials, and then get started on the application. But I'm happy to answer any questions. If you're not sure if your work actually would fit for a Maddox grant, just send me an email. I'm not too worried about it. But that is all I have.
Thank you, Joseph. I want to pause in case anybody has any questions. Feel free to come off mute or drop them in the chat. And Joseph, can you share the slide, either reshare the slide with your contact info or just drop it, or I can just drop it in the chat.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing this opportunity for this presentation for Joseph and everybody on this call. Joseph, contact individuals in other counties beyond Metro. When I'm speaking more of the rural areas, is there other contact persons, or you're the only contact person?
We only have a staff of 2, so it's either Jen or myself. So okay. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. And secondly, last question. When you're talking about the environmental aspect, I guess what community gardens and some of those things fall into line with the scope that you're looking at doing or funding?
Yeah, community gardens would fall under our work for protecting the natural environment. We do have other priorities. So when we fund community gardens, we want to make sure they're in neighborhoods that traditionally have been marginalized, or communities that are facing poverty. So I know there is that other kind of layer we want to help. But yeah, community gardens would help. Feel free to send me an email if you have any questions.
Thank you, Joseph. I'm appreciative.
And we had a question in the chat. Is there a minimum budget? No, there is not a minimum budget. In fact, we actually prioritize smaller organizations. So probably about a third of our partners right now file a 990 N postcard, right? They don't even reach the threshold of $50,000 to file taxes every year. So yeah, we don't have a minimum. We prioritize organizations that are under 2 million. And And really, we're looking at much smaller than that too. So I think our largest organizations that we support are the YWCA and each of the HBCUs actually here locally in Nashville.
Thank you for adding that context, Joseph. Does anybody else have any questions they want to drop in the chat, or come off mute?
Cool. I won't keep you all, but my email is in the chat, so feel free to send me a question or if you have any about your organization. Honestly, like if you're unsure about your work, again, you can just send me the link to your organization's website, and I'll take a look and I can talk through it with you sometime this week or next week. But our deadline is March 20th, so just be aware that that's coming up. It's 2 Fridays from now, and we don't make any exceptions for late applications. But for our out of cycle funding, we take that year round. Typically, there's a 1 month turnaround on that, and your first step is reaching out to staff. So you can just send me an email. And those grants are typically smaller, about from like the $5,000 to $10,000 range.
Thank you, Joseph. And I believe I have the link directly to the application and I can drop that in the chat. Um, and we'll make sure to put it in the newsletter that goes out. And so please feel free to reach out to Joseph if you have any questions. And also, we'll try to do our part to make sure that the application is ready and handy for those who may be curious about it or would just like to share it out. Especially with this being time sensitive. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out. We know the deadline is approaching, so please just don't hesitate to let us know.
Cool. Well, thank you. I will go ahead and hop off if I'm not needed.
All right. Thank you, Joseph, for
Yep.
joining us.
See you.
We have your contact info in the chat, so thanks.
Cool. See
Enjoy the
you.
rest of your Wednesday. I will be sure, like I said, to include that information. I'm also just trying to take a second to grab the application link, so that I can drop that in the chat really quickly. And while I'm doing that, if you all think of any questions that may have come up for you in between Joseph hopping off, you also can drop those in the chat and I can try to email them to him directly as well. But his contact info is in the chat as well. All righty, I just dropped that in the chat. In the spirit of not keeping you long, we wanted to just kind of share some updates on what's happening in our world where you can plug in, where you can stay updated. A lot of people have reached out and about Village Month and about some events that we have coming up. And so if you have not had a chance to kind of engage there and you've been wanting to, I wanted to highlight a few opportunities that we have coming up. We have our collaboration as liberation event coming up soon. And we just dropped a flyer for our speakers for that. And I can pull that up really quickly, or if I can't pull it up, I'll drop it in the chat. But we have quite a few speakers for that. So if you're familiar with the Creativity Bar, we have a session being facilitated. We have a panel that will be kind of facilitated, featuring Lorenzo Washington with the Jefferson Street Sound Museum, Moncherie, just a few people in the community that can really speak to the past, the present, and the future of Nashville. And so if you are interested, if this feels like, just kind of an area of interest for you, we will be at Scarrett Bennett. This is an event that has gone quite quickly. There are only a few tickets left, and it is in collaboration with Mosaic Changemakers. So that is this upcoming Monday at Scarrett Bennett. And so feel free to, if you are interested, grab your tickets. We also want to make note that because if spots are limited and you have RSVP'd, but then you may or may not be able to make it, please just let us know. We do have a wait list that will open up once we've hit our max. And so if you didn't get to grab a ticket and, by the end of the week, tickets are maxed out and you're still interested, we will open up a wait list. And so please, if you have RSVP'd and then something comes up to where you can't make it, let us know because we will have people on that wait list trying to get those tickets. And so that will be again Monday from 5 to 9. It is an evening event. So if you can come out, please feel free. Our next event we're super excited about is our ribbon cutting ceremony. If you don't know, the village relocated, and so we are now in North Nashville. And so this is just kind of like our ribbon cutting ceremony open house. It'll be on a Saturday, super family friendly. So please feel free to bring your orgs, bring the kiddos, and we're just going to be, outside having a good old time. We'll be, just kind of showing people around our new house. This is our opportunity to just kind of say, hey, we're in North Nashville, get acquainted with the community. And so if you're free from 10 to 1, please feel free to join us and be a community with us for that. Our next event will be a workshop hosted by our very own executive director, Erica Burnett, and that'll be an Assembling Your Organization's Avengers workshop. If you attended our retreat last October, you got a little bit of this workshop, but this will be just a deeper dive into it. We know that our nonprofit leaders cannot accomplish and conquer all the things on their own. And so a lot of you guys always know how you have an amazing team around you, but you struggle with just kind of knowing how to leverage your team skills to the best of their ability, to the best of your ability. And so just wanted to have kind of a workshop diving into building a team around you that really can support you in the work that you're doing. And so we'll be leaning deeper into that. And then we'll be ending the month in honor of Women's History Month with the Bold and Brave Day on the Hill. If you are familiar with a nonprofit, work for or with or alongside a nonprofit that works with young girls, and you're interested in being there for this Bold and Brave Day on the Hill. It is the Women's Advocacy Day on the Hill. So if you are a woman and you're interested in joining, or if you work with young girls and you're interested in your young girls being able to be in attendance for that, if there's some like transportation issues, but you definitely want them to be able to be there, please reach out to me and let me know. We've already reached out and been in communications with a few after school girl only after school programs to see what we can get coordinated. But if you have any area of interest there and any curiosities there, please reach out to me and let me know, and we can see how we can support you in getting the girls there or getting transportation set up. And that is pretty much all we have for Village Month. I do want to make a note that spring break is coming up. And so we will be on a pause for our virtual Wednesday meetings next week. So there will be no virtual Wednesday meeting next week. But there are plenty of opportunities to engage with us in person next week. We will just be kind of on a pause for spring break. And then the Wednesday after that, we will be in person for a co-working day at Kahawa Coffee Shop. If you're familiar with Kahawa, it's a new Black-owned coffee shop kind of in the downtown area, but parking is free. They have a free parking garage. And so that's a day where we won't be doing any heavy lifting, any heavy programming. We're just saying, hey, if you want to come co-work with us at this coffee shop, please feel free, support a Black-owned business. And so that is kind of what the rest of our month of March will be looking like. So if you I will drop all those links in the chat. And if you have any opportunities, if anything feels like an area of interest for you, please feel free to plug in and just, we love to be in community with you all and see your faces. And I will take a pause in case anybody has any questions while I drop those links for those Eventbrite in the chat.
That was my question, the links.
Okay. Yep. Let me grab them. It's quite a few. And also we have a link tree. And so the link tree also has the link to like all of these events in there as well. Also, if you follow us on Instagram at Nashville Village, our link tree is also in our Instagram bio. And that's always a pretty easy way to just kind of when I'm trying to get to it, and I'm rushing for time, that's always my go-to way to find it. But those links should be coming through in the chat.
What is your email?
And my email is village@cfmt.org, and I'll drop that in the chat as well.
I get E-line.
I also made a note about at the beginning of the call, if you were not able to join us for our community safety task force breakfast last week, it was really just a time where we sat in the community. It was facilitated by Kia Jarman, and we really just had an open dialogue about the community safety task force plan that the mayor's office, in partnership with the Office of Community Safety, is developing a community safety task force plan. And so Kia Jarman, someone who is working with the community safety task force to kind of come up with a plan, and they really wanted to make sure that the community had an opportunity to just say what they wanted that to look like. If you were not able to be there physically for that, but you still wanted to contribute your ideas, your opinions about it, I also just dropped a Google form for that. That is live, and Kia is still grabbing things from that. So if you still have some opinions about that or something that you like to share, please click on that link. It's the Google Doc link. And just please feel free to fill that out. And we're manning that and keeping an eye on that as the weeks progress. But we definitely just want to make sure that everybody in the village's voice is being heard. And so please feel free to find that link in the chat as well. I do want to take a pause. We do not want to be before you long today at all. So I do want to pause. We've gotten all of our announcements out. Again, if you have any questions about the grant that Joseph talked about, please reach out to him or me. All the information for that is in the chat, as well as the link to the grant, and it will be linked in our newsletter. A reminder that the deadline for that is March 20th, and so it's coming up pretty fast. But a reminder that there are no organization size restrictions or budget restrictions for that. So if that is an area of interest for you, I definitely encourage you to apply, or if you have any questions, reach out. But I do want to pause in case anybody has any announcements or give anybody the floor for any questions. Cornelius, were you asking something, or did you have a question? Or were we getting some feedback from your background?
My
Okay.
apologies. I'm getting in
No,
the car. My apologies.
no,
I,
no
I got
worries.
Yeah, I got everything I need. Good
Okay.
morning to everyone again. Thank you for this pertinent information. I will be getting with those individuals to make sure that we at least go after some of these funds. If we don't get them awarded this year, maybe next year or the next cycle.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey y'all, this is Peaches from Free Hearted Community Support Coordinator. Y'all, I'm an author now. I dropped my book 2 weeks ago. If anybody wants to support me on my book, I'm gonna drop the website in there. Y'all can go purchase however y'all want to do it, or give me a shout out. It doesn't matter. It's all support. I would appreciate y'all so much. And it's my journey from me being incarcerated for 9 years, and I was released 2019. And it's just basic, tell me steps that I made, since I came home, what resources they give me. So the book is amazing, but I want to hear from y'all. So I'm going to drop my website in the chat. Thank y'all.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So proud of you. Being the author is such an amazing accomplishment. and it is not an easy accomplishment. So congratulations to you.
Congratulations. Also, y'all know I do a podcast slash radio show, so I do both. They're one and the same with me. So if anyone would love to be on my show, my podcast, and to the former speaker, you know you have a spot. So let's connect. And always to our facilitator, if there's any uh, advertisements or advertisements or community engagement you would love for me to always get out, just email me and then I will always put them on the show. So you have access to that.
Thank you. Thank you. We definitely will need to reach out to you in terms of advertisements. I would love to connect with you about that. So,
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to join your podcast just to tell people where I came from and where I'm going, and tell them about my book and me being an author. So I'm gonna drop my number in the chat, get with me, or you can drop yours and I can reach out to you either way. Thank you for that.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
love that. Does anybody else need to come off mute before we hop off? All right. Well, I will not keep y'all. I'll stay on for a few minutes just to make sure that everybody is able to grab all the links that they need in the chat. But thank you all for joining us. I look forward to seeing you all Monday. And if you can't join us Monday, look forward to seeing you all at the ribbon cutting ceremony on Saturday. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Women's History Month. Again, shout out to all the amazing women that we have on the call. Laquita, congratulations on your book. I can't wait to read it and support. And you all have
Thank
an amazing rest of
you.
your day.
All right. See y'all. Thank y'all so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye bye.
Make